Hi, welcome. This video is going to review the helloMVC project. This is available in Bitbucket. So what I want you to do, if you want to follow along in the code, is to clone the latest version of the CIS 2232 2017-2018 class repository. All right, so I've done that. What I would suggest is just if you delete the repository off your desktop. Alright, so if you have it in a folder, just delete that repository, and what you can do is clone it fresh using the clone in the source tree. So ultimately, you should have this repository downloaded in the source tree and available for use. Alright, so in NetBeans, once I've downloaded that from Bitbucket, I access the project. Alright, so it's downloaded onto my C drive, and I've got mine contained in a folder called Bitbucket. Alright, and inside there I've got a topic 3 MVC project. Alright, so I want to access the helloMVC start application. So this is a Maven based Spring Java web application. And the reason I don't create this from scratch, I could look at creating from scratch a Java web application. But that's going to build it differently than the setup that we use. We use TimeLeaf along with HTML for our views. And if you create one from scratch, you can do that, but it'll create it with these things called JSPs for the views, and that's not the way we go. So I like to use the TimeLeaf with HTML because it's more similar to what you do in your web development course. Okay, so access. Alright, so I've gotten the project open and available. So what I'm going to do is get this project up and running just before I start looking at the details of it. I just want to make sure that it works. So to make sure it works, one thing you might have to do is go into the other sources and make sure the database is created. This project, it's set up to use a database, although it's just a hello world application, so you don't actually see it connecting to the database. But to get it to work, you probably have to have the database created. So what I'm going to do is run this file, and hopefully everybody has a MySQL root connection created. Otherwise, you'll have to go create one. Alright, so I'm going to create it, and this is not looking so good. Alright, so some people might see this sometimes. If I do this first, it might work better. Alright, so my SQL is running. Okay, so once I was able to tell it to connect using root and no password, the second time I went to run it, it worked much better. So I look at the output here. Right, the only error I got was that I couldn't recreate the database. Right. And I wouldn't have that error if I had a drop database or up at the start. That's all right. Okay, so now I've got a Canes database created, and I tell it to use Canes. So the application hopefully will start now. So I'll try to run it. What it will do is connect to your Tomcat, and it'll deploy the helloMVC war file to your Tomcat server. Right, so this is the same as I think everybody's been able to get their CIS admin application up and running, or their project application up and running. So it uses the same setup as those projects. So if they're set up, this should just work. All right, so I'm going to launch it to, you see it's going to launch open in Google Chrome based on this drop down up here. All right, somebody might have different browsers specified, but I just use Chrome. Alright, so it's deploying. And it's a little bit slow. Hopefully it should deploy here pretty soon. Maybe. Still moving slowly. There it goes. So it's launching to hello world. So you see, this should be the context root of the application. I can see that from the properties of the project under the run. So it tells it the context path is hello. So that's how it builds that URL. And there it goes. So now our project is up and running and says hello to the browser. But it's definitely a lot more complex hello world than most of our other applications so far. And I want to just walk through the different pieces of this project. Now that I know it's up and running, I'm good to go. Okay, so first off, we're into the MVC part of the course. So MVC stands for Model View Controller. So those are the three different pieces that make up our project. All right, so the view, I'll start off with. The view is contained in the web pages folder, and it's hidden down in the WebInf TimeLeaf folder. So this is where it's located. So I've got folders inside here, fragments. These are the three files which make up the structure of our program. All right, so I've got a welcome.html. So this is what we saw whenever the program started running. Now let's walk through quickly the three pieces of this. What I've got is, you'll see this TH. All right, so that stands for TimeLeaf. And TimeLeaf is a template engine for a product. It's what we use to build our views. So a TimeLeaf replace is going to replace this here component, this head component of my view, with the head tag .html file contained here in the fragments. Okay, so if you look at inside the head tag here, there's a lot of references to JavaScript and CSS files. So if we put those, the idea is if we put resources inside the head tag file, they'll be available inside of all of our HTML files which have this at the start. So we don't have to keep adding the JavaScript libraries to all of our HTML pages. They're just included using this syntax. Okay, so this again is the welcome.html file. All right, so that's how we get the head tag included. As well, we include a body header. All right, and the body header contains the HTML, which provides this here initial structure to our page. All right, and again, the body header is contained in the fragments folder. Basically, you see inside it where I have helloMVC specified. All right, and the idea behind this is that the body header can be consistently used inside our HTML, our views, to allow us to have a consistent look inside of our application. All right, so this is going to be included inside our welcome.html page. Yes. All right, in this part here. All right, and then what we normally have is the specific part of our HTML page contained after the body header. All right, so that's going to be different for our all of our web pages, but we're going to have a consistent body header and a consistent footer. All right, so the footer again is contained in the fragments folder, and all it does is provides the bottom part of our page. All right, this little blue line at the bottom is controlled by the footer. See, it says CIS2232 hello in the bottom right. Right, and that's what this does. Okay, so that's the view component at a very high level. So next, I'm going to take a look at the controller component. All right, so the controller in our MVC projects, our controllers are contained in source packages right here. So it's going to be a package called info.hccis.hello.web. In general, the .web indicates to me that all of our controllers are going to be stored in here. So there's one tricky part here, and I might change this in the starting code so that all of our projects contain a same package to contain the controllers, just to make it easier. The problem is our Spring MVC projects need to know where those controllers are. All right, if you look at in here at MVC core config.xml, there's a spot here in here. All right, and this references the package that contains the controllers. And this is what tells Spring how to go find the controller files. Right? Because this is all done automatically. We don't have to tell it that this controller file has been created. We just create it inside this package, and then Spring is able to find it. All right, so if we refactor this, maybe I'll do this right now, and I'll check in the code. So whenever you're looking at it, you'll have this. All right, so let's just put info.hccis.web. All right, and refactor this package to info.hccis.web. So whenever you guys open this project, the latest stuff in Bitbucket for the start code, it will contain this package. All right, so I'll do that. Everything should work the same now. All right, but now the thing is, if you create a, say, squash package, info.hccis.squash.web, then you would have to modify this file as well. So if we all put our controllers inside this package, we won't have to change this package whenever we go from project to project. All right, so let's make sure that's still working. And as I do this, so this project, you'll notice the third component of our MVC is the model. Okay, so there is no model for this project. Right? We've got a controller contained in here and a view. But as we go along a little bit farther in this activity, we can create a model. And the model will be contained inside the source packages, in any packages contained in source packages other than the package that contains the controllers. Right, so those are the three different pieces that make up an MVC project. And just make sure that's still up and running. And it is. So we didn't break anything, but I'll check in that change. All right, if you want to see how I check in the stuff, hopefully I should see some uncommitted changes here in a second. Being a little bit slow here, probably because I'm creating the video and running Tomcat and all sorts of things. But eventually, the change files that I make here, that I made, should show up here. There they are. If I click down in the master branch. All right, so this committed, you see I modified the core config, the hello controller. Oh yeah. I wonder what the difference between these two is. Anyways, it looks like it's modified a little bit. Anyway, I'm going to check in those three changes. So I'll check them all. Commit. Alright, so I'm going to add Right, so I check this to push them immediately up to Bitbucket. So I'll commit and push, and then your changes will be available whenever you guys access this starting code. Anyway, I'm going to stop the video here now. I'm going to make another video which shows making some changes.